members of the Maryland State Retirement and Pension System may need to take a leave of absence without pay during their career. A qualifying leave of absence is defined as a leave without pay approved by the member's employer and the Maryland State Retirement Agency for a minimum of 30 days to a maximum of 2 years for one of the following qualifying reasons: the member's personal illness, the birth or legal adoption of a child, or with proper documentation, a career-related study. While an employer may permit an absence for reasons not listed, the retirement agency will only approve a leave of absence from the retirement or pension system for the listed qualifying reasons. Disability retirement. You may qualify to file a disability retirement claim if you are applying for a qualifying leave of absence because of a serious illness or injury that permanently prevents you from performing your job duties. A leave of absence provides continued survivor coverage while you are off payroll for a qualifying reason. To become eligible to file an ordinary disability claim, a member may purchase their leave of absence time within 60 days after the expiration or termination of their approved leave. Upon request, the Retirement Agency Executive Director may, for good cause, extend the purchase period to allow a member to purchase the time to qualify to file an ordinary disability claim. For more information, view our disability videos posted on our website. For a terminal illness up to 6 months following the last contribution or payroll report, the Retirement Executive Director shall waive the requirement to file an application before the leave of absence, and shall treat the member as if they are on a qualifying leave of absence unless the employer notifies the system to the contrary. To preserve any right to credit and benefits, members must request approval for a qualifying leave of absence prior to a break in service. A break in service is defined as any break in employment greater than 30 days in which hours and contributions were not reported to the State Retirement Agency. Specifically, the member did not actually work, the member did not use paid leave, and therefore contributions were not owed. Paid leave, such as administrative or sick leave, is reported to the Retirement Agency as paid hours. Members on paid leave do not need to complete a leave of absence Form 46. Contributions continue to be withheld by payroll, and hours are reported to the Retirement Agency. Members receiving a workers' compensation benefit qualify for a pension leave of absence for their personal illness and should complete and submit a leave application Form 46 to their employer and the Retirement Agency. They qualify because they are not working or using their earned leave. While they may be receiving a workers' compensation benefit, hours are not reported to the State Retirement Agency, nor are contributions paid. An approved qualified leave of absence benefit. Law and regulations emphasize the importance of submitting a leave of absence Form 46 prior to a qualifying type of leave. The benefits of an employer and Maryland State Retirement Agency approved leave of absence include continued survivor benefit protection. Only beneficiaries of active members or members on an employer and state retirement agency approved qualified leave of absence are eligible for continued survivor benefit coverage during their leave period. If a member does not apply for a leave of absence or does not qualify for a leave of absence and dies after a break in service greater than 30 days or after their approved leave of absence period expires, their beneficiaries are only eligible to receive the return of the inactive member's accumulated contributions. Members on an approved qualified leave of absence are also eligible to purchase additional service credit during their leave period. And upon their return, contributory members may purchase credit for their leave period. If they do not return, they have up to 60 days after their leave of absence period expires to purchase the service credit. In addition to survivor benefit protection, non-contributory members earn service credit while on an employer and a Maryland State Retirement Agency approved qualified leave of absence. Non-contributory employers are listed on the screen. If your employer is not listed on the screen, your employer is not in the non-contributory system, and this slide does not apply to you or your employees. Members and their employers often assume that all leave covered by the Federal Family Medical Leave Act is also a Maryland State Retirement and Pension System qualifying event. While FMLA provides job protection during family leave, a family leave of absence without pay is not a pension qualifying leave of absence. Maryland law and regulations set the provisions for pension qualifying leave events. As noted previously, an employer and retirement agency approved leave of absence for a member's own personal illness or medical treatment is a qualifying event. A leave of absence without pay to care for a family member is not a pension qualifying event. Pension coverage ends after a 30-day break in service. Carefully review the instructions on the back of the Qualified Leave of Absence Request Form 46. Complete this form before going on a qualified leave of absence to preserve your right to obtain credit for your leave. The member completes the top of the Leave of Absence Request Form 46 with their Social Security number, name, and contact information. The member indicates the type of qualifying leave and term of leave. The minimum is 30 days and up to a maximum of 2 years after going off payroll. The member signs and dates the form, indicating they understand they may be able to obtain membership credit for their approved term of leave. To purchase service credit, they agree to pay missed contributions and interest within their system's time frames. Their signature also confirms they understand that their leave of absence ends if they separate from employment. In other words, the member has not returned to work. They are no longer on an approved leave of absence. Their employer no longer approves their leave, or they are no longer welcome to return to their former employer. If they do not return to employment after the qualified leave of absence expires, they have 60 days after the expiration of their approved leave to purchase the credit. Members should retain a copy of the completed form for their records and forward the completed form to their employer's retirement coordinator for approval. Employer responsibilities. Retirement coordinators review the leave of absence form to confirm the member indicated the correct leave term and signed and dated the form. If a member is unable to complete the form, coordinators may complete the form on their behalf. If they complete the form for a member, the employer must provide an explanation on the form explaining why the member was unable, not unwilling, to complete the form themselves. An employer can approve a leave of absence if they receive a properly completed form for a pension qualifying type of leave. An employer cannot approve a leave of absence if the reason for the break in employment is not a qualified type of leave, or the member is able but does not submit a leave of absence form 46 to their employer for approval, or the member is actually terminating employment and not going on a leave of absence. The retirement coordinator completes the retirement coordinator section with the member's system, employer information, and the date the leave was approved by the employer. The coordinator certifies approval with their signature and date. The form, letter of explanation from the member's employer, and documentation of leave must be submitted to the state retirement agency for further approval. When a leave of absence request is received, the state retirement agency determines if the employer-approved leave meets the legal definition of a qualifying reason for an approved leave of absence. If the reason for the leave of absence does not qualify by law and regulation, the agency notifies the retirement coordinator. The retirement agency shall approve a qualifying leave of absence if the agency receives a properly completed leave of absence application, Form 46, with supporting documentation approved by the employer for a qualifying type of Maryland pension and retirement leave of absence. Regardless of the leave period noted on the Form 46 or approved by the retirement agency, the approved absence ends upon the member's return to payroll with any participating employer. An approved leave of absence ends when the requested leave period expires. An approved leave of absence and membership ends when the member requests a withdrawal of accumulated contributions. An approved leave of absence ends if the employer or member terminates their leave or separates from employment. An approved leave of absence ends after the member retires. Employers and members often ask about intermittent leave without pay because the member exhausted all of their paid leave. Intermittent leave without pay can impact a member's service credit. Regardless of the leave period noted on the Form 46 or approved by the retirement agency, the approved period ends upon the member's return to payroll, and a new leave of absence Form 46 will be needed for any additional breaks in service for periods of time greater than 30 days for a qualifying reason. Remember, not all breaks in service qualify as a pension and retirement type of leave. For example, a birth of a child is a qualifying leave of absence for the parent of the newborn, but care for a family member is not a pension qualifying type of leave of absence. So if a parent returns to work and later requires another leave without pay to care for the sick child, this leave would not be approved because it is not a pension qualifying type of leave of absence, even if they are still within the 2 years of the child's birth. Returning to work. Upon returning to employment in the same system, a member may be entitled to receive eligibility and credible service for employer and retirement agency approved leave of absence. To receive service credit for a qualified leave of absence, a member must not otherwise be entitled to receive service credit for the leave period, and the member must complete and submit a request to purchase previous service Form 26 and supply supporting explanation and documentation of leave, and promptly provide any additional information at the request of the retirement agency. They also must pay the required member contributions with regular interest before retirement. Retirees cannot purchase service credit. The leave of absence period must be purchased prior to retirement. If the member does not return to work, the member has 60 days after their approved leave period expires to purchase eligibility and creditable service credit. Retirement coordinators should remind members that they may purchase service credit for the approved leave period and provide them with the request to purchase service Form 26. Coordinators certify the leave of absence period. The retirement agency confirms the leave was approved and determines the cost of the missed contributions and interest. The member has a limited time to pay the required member contributions with interest to purchase their service credit. Forward properly completed forms and other documents to the Maryland State Retirement Agency.